Hey, I'm Gerald. This is Terry. This is Shane. We're three brothers together. Today we're going to start an addition on this house for a closet. We're going to do it simple, we're going to be plain, and you can learn how to do this for yourself. We'll pop off a little bit. Usually, Terry, they've got a clip right here called a starter, and that's what this side is clipped into. There you go. Oh yeah. Go ahead and just go. Now, let's just we'll just unclip it from these. We need to probably need something to put the nails in. Hang on. That way we can transfer this down to the bottom where we want to start. So we roughly need to be 5 foot. 5 foot, just hang me off that corner. Put that in. Okay. Right there. That's where the outside of it's going to be. Hold my tape here. Right on that. I'll go back this way 16. Okay. All right, on that side of it. Okay. That side, so that's outside of it, 16. The worst part about getting started is getting square. So what we're going to do is just going to take a regular T-square, because we're just going to square up roughly. We'll fine tune our square later. So what we're going to do here is we're just going to put it right on this mark next to that. So what we need to do is just square us a line down. So we'll just use this siding, just like we got. Just like that. Make sure it's fitting right there. And let's go to the other end, do the same thing. Use your side. Just like that right there. Now, to square up, all we're going to do is set that square right beside of that. That foundation's going to be real true. Yeah. And so now we can come out here off of this, stay parallel. Give me a hammer. Your hammer. We're just going to make a mark right here on the ground. Just roughly. So set it right beside of that, Terry.
Like this?
Yeah.
All right.
So right here is 8 foot. So this is going to square us up roughly. So we need to dig right there. Let's go to the other side and do the same thing. Just make sure you square setting against your foundation.
Yeah.
And right. 8 foot. Okay, that's going to be the center of it. So we want to, that's where the outside of our post should sit. So we want to be just beyond that just a little bit, because we're going to use the sackcrete to, going to dig down deep enough to kind of get down below frost level. And then we're going to put our sackcrete down there, and we'll take a flat bar or a spud bar and tamp it out. That'll just settle all of our stuff down. Then we'll lay a cap block on top of that. We won't have to add no water. There'll be enough moisture in the ground to set this stuff up, because we're not going to try to get the whole thing up in one day anyhow. So if that's the outside corner, we'll do that one more time to get our center post in. So we want to be over around that, just like this right here. So I'm just going to chop me out a little foundation here. We'll dig it out here in a few minutes. And these don't have to be perfect, they just have to be deep enough. So let's go over here and we'll do this in the same way. Let's see. Yeah, that'll be all right.
Yeah, I know.
Now, we need to measure over another 8 foot and do that again. Hold me right there and I'll get 8 feet. 7, 8 feet. 8 foot's gonna be right there. Put it right back on your line. Yeah, I'm off a ½ inch, but that's just a ½ inch. Okay, just hold me right there. Okay, number one, doing projects like this is not rocket science. It's just a matter of a willingness to jump in on it. So what we're going to do, going to make it easy for you to do it. Lots of contractors come out and they give you the big spiel, and it's nothing more than sales. They're trying to sell themselves. And there's lots of good contractors around, I'm sure. But in most cases, a regular homeowner can do the same thing that we do as brothers. We do all of our own work ourselves. And we use a little ingenuity, a little common sense. So this is going to be common sense. Nothing, no complicated math, no complicated applications, just simple things that you can do right at home yourself. And we're going to do this like brothers do it. That's what you can do too. Okay, we'll get started digging. All right. We've got down to our last hole here. Got a lot of trash in the bottom of it. All I'm going to do is just rake that back. I want to tamp the bottom of this hole. The reason I want to do that is because I want something good and solid. Digging in the ground, you loosen the ground. So we want a good square bottom for our footing to sit on. In other words, it has to be flat. And so I'm just going to re-tamp what was left loose in the bottom of this, just like I'm doing. That way when we put our sackcrete in, everything will be good. Because flat is a lot harder to push down than if your hole is cupped round at the bottom. And displacement means width and depth of it's going to be 12 inches deep at least, plus a cap block sitting on top of that. So we just want something that weight cannot just continue to shove down. So we've got them dug out, and all we're going to do here is we're going to set our square back up before we put our sackcrete in. Going to measure roughly over here to it and make sure that we have these located just right. So Terry, if you'll come back and put your square right against that wall. What do we do with the right behind you? We're just going to double check everything. Okay, just hold me right beside of that. I'll measure right beside of that. So you can see here that 8 foot, and this is going to be the back side of the post around this way. So we got a post setting just a little off center, but that won't matter. We're going to have something wide for it to set on, and this cap block will give us plenty of surface to set the post on. So we're going to cut the cap block in two. We'll show you how to do that here in just a minute. Let's go to the other one, Terry, and check it. So 8 foot, this is setting off to the side just a little bit, but I don't think that's an issue either. So we're good there. And I'm just looking at my square. 8 foot's going to hit kind of off to the side just a little bit, because we're talking about something that's going to sit here 5.5 by 5.5 so far, and I'm going to notch these posts for these joists to set in. So everything looks good. I think we're ready to put the sackcrete in. Now here's a little something I need to tell you about sackcrete. When you buy it, it's going to be equal, as I said before, to about 1,500 PSI, which is more than enough for a little addition like this. Most of the cement you order from a company that delivers it's going to be 2,500, 3,500, which is typically what it is, or 4,000. 4,000 means it's 4,000 pounds per square inch is what it's capable of supporting. So we're just going to put the sackcrete in here, and we're not going to worry about wetting the sackcrete down. I don't. Anytime you have a fence set and they're putting posts into the ground, they never wet that sackcrete. So we're going to let the ground itself set this sackcrete up. We're going to go on. We're going to continue to work. So we're going to allow the sackcrete set, and the cap block is going to keep the post from going down into the sackcrete, if you follow the idea here. And we're going to put the sackcrete in, we're going to tamp the top of it. That means we're going to take all the air out of it while it's dry. We're going to get as much air out as we can. So, okay, we'll start putting in sackcrete. Bag sackcrete, and here's our fancy bag opener. Okay, let's put another in. Oh, it's beautiful. That is good. Now all I'm going to do is I'm going to settle it down. You can see how this spud bar is going down in there. It's working that air out. You can see how this spud bar is not going in the ground anymore. It's staying next to the top. That means that we're getting most of the air out of our sackcrete. And I'm just generally using my eye you don't have to make big licks. Little small ones will work good. Okay, let's go to the next hole. cap block sitting right here. We just laid it down. I took a little board. I actually got that out of the burn pile. And I just kind of leveled off the top of it. I'll show you on the next hole. And we want these cap block pretty level. So all we're going to do to that is to get real close right here, Shane. You can watch that. Just going to jar that down. I'm going to turn it level the other way. And it's a little high on this end, so just watch that bubble. It's going to move. Let me set it off here to let me get a... We're getting close. Now, if you have a little problem, just work it a little bit. Leave it right where it's at. We'll just double check it as we go along. So this end needs to come down just a little bit. We're really close. So, to being perfect, right now when I lift up there and get it perfect, I've got about 1/8 of an inch under this end of my level. You can hear how solid that sounds. Oh, that's, for me, that's pretty doggone close. Okay.
That's this side of the...
Right there at 8 foot. That's 8 foot exactly. So we're pretty close. So our post will be sitting somewhere along in here. I'm just guessing at this point because we will do a final square. But right there will be the corner of the post. Like so. 6 by 6. Setting right there. So we're good. So we'll go to the far end. Do the same thing again. Okay. The reason I'm using these cap block is because all cap block are porous. All pre-manufactured block are porous, is a porous material. So what I didn't show on the other one is this is how I got the flat area. I'm just taking everything that's off the sides there, cleaning my corners, and just going to pat it down just a little bit. A little dusty. Okay, let's set our square up again, Terry, and I'll lay this block right where we want it. And the reason for that is to keep water from gathering in on this and weeping up and getting in my post all the time. So this is what we want to do. So we're just looking at our square. Shane, show how we're coming parallel off that T-square there. Now look, this is just roughly, because we can fine tune the square of this closet anytime during the process. So right here is our 8 foot. So I'm just going to kind of put me an X with my finger right there. I'm going to try to set this cap block over on this side of 8 foot just a little bit. Enough, because I want my post sitting on here, if you follow that. So now I'm going to put my level on, see what I look like, see how close that is, and all this just by eye, not rocket science. So a little adjustment. The reason I'm using this block of wood to pound with is so that I don't bust my cap block. Okay, dead on. we're good. Hang on a second. And we're really close this way. I just need on this side. Wherever your bubble's at, if there's your bubbles this way, that's the end you need to pound down. Dead on. So easy peasy. Nothing to it. Okay, we're going to go over here and measure this other. We're going to measure it 2 different ways to get our 8 foot. Again, real easy. Going to use our handy dandy mountain leveling apparatus, normally called a piece of 2x6. No fancy tools, just a little common sense. Common sense takes you a long way in this world. All right. Okay. Become 8 foot. Measure off the back side of your square there. That's right.
Thank you.
Because right here is 8 foot. So we won't be over this way just a little bit. And we want to put this block in this way. Allow us to adjust that post on either side. So if 8 foot's right there, that'll be the back side of my post. So I want to be about right here on this side. Okay, we're dead on. So we're good. A little. I think we're great. So, we've worked here probably, what, hour?
Yeah.
We've worked here an hour and a half or so, and this is where we're at. So we're good. We got something good and solid. It's going to set up on its own. We can proceed on and keep the work going. Everything is just roughly. It doesn't take a lot of precision tools. That's the idea. Sometimes videos on how to do things, even the videos are way too complicated. So we've got something good and solid. Set a post on here. We can work and start off and continue working all day long and not having to worry about waiting for all this sackcrete or a foundation to set up. We've got something here that's porous. That way when water gets in this, we'll put dirt back over top of this, by the way. And we want water to be able to get away from the bottom of our post. That way it doesn't weep up into the post all the time and rot the post off. And you can do lots of things to this if you want to keep bugs out of it. Anything that's petroleum-based, bugs hate. When you go to your local supplier to get your stuff and you're looking at water sealant and water treatment, anything that's not petroleum-based is not going to put the bugs away. So you just keep in mind, if you want to keep the bugs out of your work, whatever you're treating with, it must be petroleum-based. Good rule of thumb. All right, we're done with this part.